Hello, Mikel.
Hello.
No more training left before kick-off tomorrow night, so an ideal time to ask you your favourite questions of news conferences that the team use. Let's start with Calafiori.
Yeah, he's out, still out.
Jorginho.
Out.
So with Jorginho, the suggestions seem to be at the start that it wasn't too bad, and seems to be worse than you first thought. I know there's patient confidentiality. Can you give us any idea what it is that he's got?
Yeah, it got a bit more complicated than expected. Thankfully, he's fine. He's feeling good. He's recovering well, but yeah, it was a bit more than what certainly we wanted.
Is it like a broken rib or something?
No, I think I leave it to the doctor if he wants to clarify, or Georgie that personally.
There's hopefully 6 games to go this season.
Yeah.
Do you think we've seen Jorginho in an Arsenal shirt for the last?
I think so. Yeah. Hopefully, if everything goes well in the next week or so, I think he will
We will see him.
gradually. I think he will reintegrate in the team. Yeah.
Okay, great. And with Kai Havertz, the opposite, kind of better than we thought, it seems, in terms of his recovery. I know we ask you every week, but that's because he's an important player, and you suggested that he is potentially going to be back.
I think so. I think if everything goes the way it's going at the moment and the way it's planned, I think he will have a chance to play a few games in the season.
Any others?
No, the rest are out. Yeah.
I guess the science, the medical science suggests that Thomas will be involved tomorrow, given that he was rested in the week.
Well, he couldn't play. He was suspended, so
Yeah,
he's got a good opportunity to play tomorrow. Yeah.
And is that something you would do because you're wanting to be involved ahead of the big game on Wednesday?
Yeah. Now we will assess how the squad is, what we want to do tomorrow, certainly with the players that we have available, and do the lineup and the possible subs.
And if selected, 100th appearance for Declan Rice,
Yeah.
which achieved in less than 2 seasons.
Unbelievable.
What does that say about him?
About consistency, availability, the way he's performed, the way he has adapted to the club, to the team. I think it's been an unbelievable signing.
The supercomputer,
You love the supercomputer.
the ordinary computer, even a broken computer,
Yeah.
says you've got no chance of winning the title this season.
Yeah, that's gone.
But the supercomputer says you've got a 99.6% chance, even before the ball is kicked this weekend, of finishing in the top 5. But while there's that little fraction of no chance, that's going to be the message to the players.
The message is very clear. Now we have to earn the right to win the game tomorrow, be better than Bournemouth, and win the game. That's what we have to do, and that's the way we have prepared since 2 days ago.
Because if you do beat Bournemouth and Chelsea lose to Liverpool, which is possible, and Nottingham Forest lose at a buoyant cup finalist Crystal Palace, which is possible, you will then mathematically qualify for the top 5. Is that something you're looking at, the wider picture?
It's a lot of ifs, so the most important one is just to increase our probabilities to win our game, and that's the focus of the team.
We've got a couple more. The camera showed some of the players who weren't involved on Tuesday. 7 important players to you. 2 of the Gabriels, Tomiyasu, Calafiori, Kai Havertz, Jorginho, Arteta, not injured but obviously suspended. When you think about those kind of problems you've had this season with injuries, big players missing, red cards as well, non-red cards, how does that make you even more proud of what you've achieved this season?
Well, the thing is that we live every day with what we have, and then I was very shocked just before the game against PSG at home, because I was walking into the dressing room and suddenly I saw all of them together seated. So it was Tomiyasu, next to him Calafiori, next to him Gabriel Magalhaes, next to him Thomas Partey, next to him Kai Havertz, next to him Gabriel Jesus, next to him Jorginho. I said, that's a starting lineup, and we don't have them, and we haven't had them for many, many months. And then I felt joy about the team and what they are doing and how they're trying, and nobody's talking about it in the building at all. But it's happening, and I felt pride about how the boys and the staff and the club are reacting to these situations.
It's a very nice, poetic answer. Actually, I've got a poem, a bit of a poem. I know you're a coach now. Beautiful spring-like weather outside, a bit of tennis in the spring. A young man's fancy lightly turns to thoughts of love. How do you stop your players lightly thinking about the city of love, thinking about Paris this weekend?
I will discuss that. Because the only thing that we can control is our performances, our emotional state, and how well we are performing. And we know how important it is still a lot of the things that we have to do in the Premier League, even though we haven't achieved what we wanted. And I take the opportunity as well to congratulate Liverpool and what they've done in the manner that they've done, how consistent they've been. And I think they fully deserve to win it. They were the better team. They had so many attributes. They had a consistently their squad available. And we're going to try again. But up to that moment next season, now we're going to have to finish the season very strong.
But finishing second is your target now.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Gary. We'll go to Niv from the Premier League.
Hi.
You just mentioned Liverpool. How impressive have you been with their calmness this season as a club, on the pitch, off the pitch? Or was there was a situation with the contract of Salah and Virgil, and there was no distraction? They got the job done.
Yeah, it's good. They had this distraction. The good thing is that they had them in the pitch all the time, which is something very positive. And it's a club in the last 10, 15 years, they've been consistently there, fighting for trophies, winning big trophies, winning the Champions League. So they're used to that. So nobody, I think, should be surprised because they have the level. And yeah, they merit because they've done a lot of things very, very well. So deserve champions.
You faced Anthony Raola this weekend.
Yeah.
You played with him back in the day, youth football. When you played together, when you were younger, what type of teammate he was, and in the dressing room, who was more vocal, you or Anthony?
He was super talented, very skillful. He used to play as a winger coming inside. Really smart player. Yeah, probably none of us thought that we were going to be in the position that we are in today in the Premier League. But yeah, really happy for him. I think he's doing an extraordinary job. The way I think he has changed a lot of things at the club as well. The atmosphere, belief, the players that he's recruited, the way they play, really impressive.
My colleague here asked you about the chance of finishing the top four in the Champions League position. When you look at the progress and the development, the improvement at Bournemouth, can you see them maybe even next year becoming one of those clubs that will challenge you and other clubs for Champions League football?
I imagine. I think in the Premier League, every club that is in this position, they have the opportunity to do it because now they have the consistency in the league. They have very, very good players. When you look at the players and the setup that they have, is really impressive. So yeah, for sure.
Ian Talksmore.
Hi, Mikel. How are
Hi,
you?
good, thank you.
Has it hurt you this season not winning the league?
Yeah,
You personally?
big time. Yeah,
Do you want to expand on that?
it's in my tummy there. So I understand that it's a team that has been more consistent and they had a lot of the ingredients that you need to win it, but it's very painful. Yeah.
Because this was meant to be your year. This was meant to be, if City didn't win it after 2 years of finishing second.
Yeah, I never thought like this. It's not that simplistic.
In terms of next year, how do you have less injuries? How do you walk into a change room next year and see less of your starting 11 out injured and more of your starting 11?
That's another discussion. We have so much to play for still in the two competitions, Premier League and Champions League, and the focus is there. At the end of the season, we have many weeks to reflect and do the work that we are already preparing to give you much better answers.
Is that one of the key things you've got to do, though? To work out how to get more players on the pitch?
Well, two main things. Play with 11 players, number one, 38 games if possible, and the second one, have availability of your best players in the best position that win your games, ideally for 38 games in the league. If you have those two things, you have a much better chance. That's not going to give you the title, but you have much better. Without any of those two, you look historically what happened over the last 100 years, there is no one single team has done it.
Last one from me. Sometimes I look around Europe and clubs that are playing in Europe big games, they're helped out a little bit by games being put back to, let's say, a Friday night rather than Saturday, or even postponed, cancelled until later on to give the team more chance in Europe. Are you a little bit disappointed? And I know you're playing at roughly the same time as PSG this weekend. Are you disappointed this game's Friday night, or maybe you shoved it back a couple of weeks to give you even more, as much chance as possible for Wednesday?
Well, I think in this context we have discussed that many times. We were a bit lucky because last weekend we didn't have a game, so I think we cannot argue in this case, and at least we have 4 days, so we'll be very well prepared.
Okay,
Hi, Mikel. When the league last weekend. Did you watch the celebrations?
A small part of it.
Do you sort of force yourself to do it? I mean, can you get motivation from watching your rival in those moments?
No, at the end are your colleagues as well, and I know some of the people in the staff as well, and yeah, I know how much work everybody puts. And listen, they deserve to win it. They've done it in a manner, in a way that has given no chance to the others, and you have to congratulate. That's a sport as well, and you have to accept that the reasons why you haven't been able to achieve it, and try to improve. That's it.
It's not something that you sort of watch and remember and think, this is motivation for next season or the summer.
Well, it can be part of your motivation. That's not the biggest part. My motivations are much more focused in other aspects than that one. But it hurts to watch it, that's for sure.
I just want to ask you one about William Saliba. We've sort of seen recently how the kind of Real Madrid machine works with all the remontada stuff, and it's quite similar with transfers. It feels like the gears are going through upstairs in Spain. Can you sort of nip all that in the bud early and say that he is not going to go anywhere this summer?
I leave those kind of things more for Andrea and the club to talk about. What I'm certain, because I had the conversation with him, that he's so happy here, that he wants to continue with us. And what will happen in the future, obviously, are negotiations and things that have to take time and process and be on top of them. But I'm quite confident that Will is very happy here, and that's the place that he wants to be.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi, Mikel. Can I ask you about Martin Odegaard? Because last 2 seasons he won Player of the Season award voted by Arsenal supporters, and this season he himself has admitted it's not been his strongest campaign. We saw him injured earlier in the season. He went through illness as well in the mid part of the season also. Are they the key reasons why you think he's not hit the heights he had himself and say it's high standards?
There will be many factors, I think. Obviously, the injury, the long-term injury, doesn't help to give you the consistency and the platform to continue in the season. But yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, the level of consistency he's shown is unbelievable. For an attacking player to be constantly there, very rare, because there is always up and downs, especially the players that are very creative and they rely on a spark and creative moments in game. But there are other aspects of his games that remain intact, and he continues to do every week.
And a couple of years ago we saw Fabio Vieira came in and added some depth there. Vieira left obviously in the summer on loan. Is that position, the attacking midfield, an area that you'd like more competitive depth, perhaps if there's a chance to rotate players or to dip players out?
We have a lot of options there. I mean, Mikel can play in that position, Declan. We have Ethan there, that is his main position. We have players that can play in that position. We have Max coming up as well, very, very soon as well. So I think we are good in the position.
Okay, last couple in this section. Jordan, let's
Joe, you're talking about the role of injured players you saw and the fact that you feel like no one's speaking about the fact that Arsenal are still Liverpool's closest rivals this year. Do you think if we were able to finish second again for the third year in a row, that, and because of the injuries you've had, this would actually be a bigger achievement than the last 2 seasons?
I don't know. It's not for me as well really to judge. I'm going to have a very clear opinion because I see what having those issues, the impact of that, because you just think this the impact of what happens on the pitch on the day, and they are much bigger than that. The numbers that we have trained with this season, I never experienced it before in my life. But it's a lot of learnings to take, and a lot of to take to the team, to the club as well to learn, and a lot of things especially that are going to make us much better.
As you say, a lot of people have had to step up when people have been missing. One of those is Kiwior, with Gabriel. When you speak to people about Kiwior, they always say he's a really quiet guy, sometimes a little bit introverted, he's got clubs. Have you seen a difference in him, and how his confidence and how he carries himself the last month?
I don't know, he's so likable, everybody really loves him in that dressing room. He's very vocal on the pitch, he has obviously had a language barrier at the beginning when he joined us. Now he's much more open with the boys, and he gets on really well with everybody, so very happy with him.
Simon.
Yeah, can I just ask you name-checked Max there. Is he part of when you're doing your squad planning for next season? Is he someone you factor into it?
For the near future, yeah, I think let's see how this evolves, but we certainly got a big talent there.
And can I just ask you one on Bournemouth? In terms of teams you could play before PSG, are they actually good side, given if you look at the way they press, I think they're close to the best in the Premier League. They might offer you something similar to what you'll get from PSG in terms of the starting team.
Well, certainly in terms of intensity and how they approach every duel, in the way of playing they are a little bit different, but they want to achieve things that are very similar to PSG in certain ways. So yeah, it's not to practice about them, it's just to be very efficient and very good in what we have to do against them to play the way that we want.
Just quickly on Calafiori, Jorginho and Kai, there's no chance of them making the second leg next week?
I wouldn't rule all them off. I think let's see in the next few days how a few they react.